Hey guys, today we're going to talk about target practice. Hi, my name is Michael Johnson. I'm a ballroom dance professional, a life coach, and a peak performance expert. I'm part of a group of motivated people who are dedicated to attaining emotional mastery and unlocking our full potential. We don't believe others are responsible for how we feel. In fact, we don't believe anyone can make us feel anything. We believe in the magic of ballroom dance. It has taught us how to improve our bodies, challenge our minds, and inspire our souls. And in return, I want to share those lessons with the world. We are lifers, and this is Magic for Life. Hey guys, Michael Johnson here. So glad you could join me today on our podcast. And as I said in the intro, we're going to talk about target practice. And what the heck does that mean? As you guys all know, I'm a ballroom dancer and a coach and peak performance trainer. And so I get to work with a lot of high-level athletes on a regular basis. And I wanted to share with you one of the techniques and concepts that we talk about on a regular basis. But as I was teaching it yesterday, I just thought, man, this is something that applies to life, and I wanted to talk about it a little bit. And that is target practice. In fact, in standard dancing, the standard dances are waltz, tango, foxtrot, Viennese waltz, quick step. These are considered the standard dances or the traditional ballroom dances. And in that training, I teach something called targeting. And targeting basically means that as you work on a figure, you target different pieces of the figure, but more particularly the count of three, or the step three of a figure. Now, some of you that aren't ballroom dancers are thinking to yourself, well, why does this apply to me? And so I want to get in and talk to you about it. You know, this is one of the things when I first introduce this to a young couple or a new couple that is starting to work on their dancing, they always look at me like, are you crazy? Like, do I really have to do this amount of work? And so let me explain to you what that work is. Well, let's say you take 3 steps of natural turn. It's a figure that you do in the waltz. And at the end of that, or at the top of that 3rd step, you target that step and you say, okay, I'm going to hit this step in this figure, and I'm going to try to make it perfect. I'm going to try to balance it. I'm going to try to put the position in the right place. I'm going to try to put my feet in the right place and my dance position, all the parts and pieces that go along with moving 2 bodies together, and you try to target that position. Now, what does it mean to target a position? Well, that means that we look at the end result and we get in that position. We say, okay, this is what we want to hit. This is the target we want to hit. And then you back it up and you do it again, and you try to hit that target again. Now, each time you do it, you'll find that the body does something a little different or acts a little different. But as you get to that target, you adjust, you re-put yourself in that position that is best, and you get it memorized. And you think about it a little bit and you say, okay, this is what I want to hit. And then you back up and you do it again, and you go to hit that target. Now, at first, in learning to control your body and your mind as you go through this, you've got to be able to kind of do it on your own. And then as you are capable of doing it on your own, you've got to learn to do it with a partner. And this in itself is at times terribly challenging, because there are so many variables. You can change your thought, you can put your body in one wrong position, and the amazing thing that I find, even with brand new dancers that are learning this, even with my pros that I work with, is that as you go to hit that position, the first time, might be off a little bit. As you memorize the target, you back up, you hit it again, and you might be a little bit off the second time. But what I find is that even with new dancers, within the first time or two, you can actually start to hit that target and get it memorized and get it to be something that is a little bit more attainable. Now, with some figures and with some pieces of a routine, you can notice that it's harder to hit. And that's because some of those figures are literally just harder to attain with 2 bodies. And this is one of the processes that we work on and that we try to improve. And one of the things that I love about this process, it is one of the first stages of discipline that we start to bring to the attention of a young dancer, and they start to look at their routine not just as a routine or getting through it or getting to the end, but about hitting each target along the way. And in a typical routine, you might have 100 figures, depending on what size of routine you're doing, maybe 50 figures, something along those lines. And these young people have to learn to go in and target each figure. I was listening to an interview by a famous basketball player, and they said, we used to go into the gym and hit just hundreds and hundreds of free throws every day. But most importantly, we'd start with the fundamentals. We wanted the arc of the ball to go in. We wanted the consistency of the spin of the ball off of our hand. And what they did was they started up close, and they just practiced getting that ball in the hoop up close. And then they took a few steps back, and then they did it again, and they kept going and hitting that target over and over again. So what they were training the mind and the body to do was to be able to be consistent at hitting that target. Well, it's no different really in dance, and it doesn't really matter whether you're doing waltz or whether you're doing cha-cha. If you're trying to hit a target, you want to be able to hit that target consistently and hit it over and over again, and hit it with the particular technique that you're trying to attain and focus on. And so with the onset of delivering this exercise and this practice of targeting to my dancers, what they find is that they have to start going through and really digging into each figure, each target that they're supposed to hit, and learning what the target's supposed to be like. Now, in some cases, they know exactly what the target is supposed to look like, and so they don't have to ask. But in many cases, they really just don't have an idea of what that target is, and that's where having a good third eye, a coach or a trainer or somebody that works with you, regardless on the sport or the activity that you're doing, because you need somebody to be able to say, yes, that is the target that you're trying to hit, and now continue to aim at that target and hit and adjust and calibrate to what it is that you're going to do. So this target practice is essentially something that is imperative in what we do, and you can find it in all athletics. You can find it in just about everything that you do sports-wise, and including business. And so you might look at something you're doing in business and go, you know what, I've been trying to hit that mark, that income mark for so long. And so you set up that target, and as you try different advertising schemes or you try different approaches to hit that target, maybe you miss, maybe you fail. But so many times what I see happening in business situations is the owner goes in, they try to hit that target, they see something that is not working, and they go, well, that's just not going to work. And what we've learned from dancing and sports is that sometimes you aim at that target, and just because you can see what the target is doesn't necessarily mean that you can hit it. And there's a lot of things that have to go on along the way. So you go, you take your swing, you take your step, you try to hit that target, and sometimes you miss. And instead of going back and trying again and trying to hit that target, sometimes we just go, oh, that's not going to work. And so what I want to encourage you guys to do and think about is take on this idea of targeting that we use in our dancing, where we look at the target, we see what it is we want to hit. Sometimes most of the times in ballroom, we have to work with another person to hit that target, which means there are so many variables along the way of how to hit that target that you have to be able to adjust. And you might be on track, you might be in the right place, but your partner might be just slightly off, or they might have just taken a little bit of a balanced step to the left or to the right, or they might be just a little off from you, and you can't blame them for it, but you have to be able to say, okay, look, we missed that target, let's go back and let's try it again. In so many instances, there's this incredible desire to say, well, what did I do wrong? And let's figure out and analyze what I did wrong. And sometimes you just need to memorize the target again, look at it again, see your goal, back up, aim at the target, and try to hit the target again. But it doesn't necessarily require a huge amount of evaluation on what you did wrong. Sometimes you just missed. And that's it. Sometimes you just missed. You don't need to reevaluate. Now, if you do it 2 or 3 times on trying to hit that target and you keep missing, now you want to go, okay, what is it that's really happening here? And that's where having a great mentor, having some colleague that has a different perspective outside of what you're trying to hit in the target comes back. You just need to make this little adjustment. Now, like I said, this works in business, it works in your advertising, it works in your sales processes, and it works in your dancing. And it's an idea and concept that works really across the board, but we really exemplify it in the dancing because every single figure we're trying to hit multiple targets along the way in order to create a step or a figure that has a beautiful look and a beautiful outcome from the outside in and from the inside out, because we want things that are absolutely feeling good, but we want them to absolutely look good at the same time. So we have two different outcomes there. And we want to be able to take that into our personal lives. So now think about it for just a second. How would that apply to maybe family life? You know, you look at it and you say, okay, this is something we want to achieve with our children. And with our children, we say, well, here's the goal. And they go and they miss. And oftentimes with young people, they miss that target. And there's this huge amount of discouragement because they believe they failed. But when they start to learn that they didn't fail, they just missed the target. And maybe the target was only an inch off. Maybe it was centimeters off. And that's oftentimes what happens when we do it in dance, which is why the dancing for young people is such a great tool to teach them good discipline, hard work, and sacrifice, because they can go in and learn, hey, you know what, I didn't miss or I didn't fail at hitting the target. I just missed it by a couple inches. Let's go back and try it again. And what do we do before we go back and try it again? We memorize the position. We look at the target and we put ourselves in that position. This isn't really unlike what we need to do with our everyday goals, with our long-term goals. We need to put ourselves in that position. We need to feel it. We need to visualize it. We have to see what it is that we're trying to accomplish. And we have to feel it and see it and hear it and really experience it, because what we're doing is we're memorizing the target. Now you step back outside the target, you look at the target again from the outside, and you start to head towards it. You aim and you fire. And if you hit, you celebrate and you get excited. You have your next goal that you're going after. And if you miss, you got to figure out, maybe it was a couple inches. But one of the things that I see so often when people are doing this targeting exercise as dancers, and this again correlates into our business life and other areas, is that they go, they hit the target, or they aim at the target, they shoot, they fire, they hit the end position, and they miss, and they go, oh, it's wrong. Now there are all sorts of different approaches at this point. Some people just go, oh, I'm not going to do that again. But in dance, you can't really do that. You got to get that figure to work. So you back up and you try it again. But some people back up and try it again before they actually memorize the target. And so it's so important in this calibration moment that you go, okay, I missed the target. Now let's stand here for a second. Let's figure out the right position to be in. Put the arms in the right place. Put the legs in the right place. Put everything in the right place so that you can hit that target again. Now you memorize it, you back up, you go, and you take a swing again at hitting that target. And if you can do that, and you can do it as many times as it takes to hit that target, you're going to create something really, really beautiful. Now it's amazing. I see so often people show up to watch competitions or performances and shows, and people really don't have an idea of how much time and effort it takes to get two bodies to work as one and be able to hit a common target. This is one of the beautiful things that we can teach young people through dancing, is that they can hit these amazing targets, but each figure requires so much precision and so much attention. And they learn this, and they learn this through the process of targeting. Now, I always say it's not glamorous. It's being in the trenches. And many times the performance shows up and they get to put on the costumes and they get to be under the lights and be the stars of the show in many instances. But to get to that point, there was a lot of what we call hard work. Now, we love it, and if you love what you do, it's never really hard work. It's just work that you do with an intense amount of focus and precision and meaning. And so we do that work and we head towards that target, but it's like definitely being in the trenches, as I tell the kids. You got to get in, you got to dig the hole, you got to really put in your effort so that when the time comes, when you need to hit that target in the most important moment, you can do it, and your body remembers it, your mind remembers it, your soul remembers it, and it gets all put together to create the beautiful picture that so often is what you see in a show or a performance. In life, well, we have these amazing goals that we hit and we shoot after. Maybe we don't hit them sometimes. I see so many adults and so many young people even that aim at a target, they get their hopes up, they really push and go after what they're trying to attain, and they miss. They miss the target, and then they give up. They don't look at it and go, okay, well, I was right here. I'm at the target. What is it really supposed to look like? They need to adjust. They need to memorize it. And then they need to go back and try to hit the target again. And this is so, so important. So think about this targeting idea. Think about this targeting idea. You wouldn't just take a shot at a target, whether you were shooting a bow and arrow. You wouldn't just shoot at the target and if you missed, give up and go, well, I'm never going to do that again. You'd go, you know what? I aimed a little bit to the right. Let me try that again. I'll aim a little to the left. And you'd keep doing it over and over again. Now, depending on the intensity or the amount of effort you'd want to do to hit that target would depend on how much time and effort you spent calibrating. So think about the goals that you have. Think about the things that you are trying to accomplish in your life. And ask yourself, how much do I want that? How important is that thing for me? And then measure that importance of that goal that you're going after. And now decide how much work you're going to put at hitting that target. How often are you going to fire again and recalibrate? Just keep shooting at the target. Just keep recalibrating and you'll hit your target. But you have to get in the trenches and you have to do the work to continue to memorize the target. And that's what the benefit and value of goals and setting that goal. Now, sometimes goals gets a little bit daunting, but like I said, as we're talking about it today, we're talking about targets, right? Little targets, big targets, long-term, short-term. This is massively important. So think about these targets that you have that you can go after and get in the trenches and realize you just got to keep taking a shot. You just got to take another swing to hit that target. So anyway, I just wanted to get on and share that with you. I thought it was a great lesson. I'm excited to continue to be able to teach this to young people and even my pros that I work with, and even the older, more advanced dancers sometimes forget that their targets are right there in front of them. They just have to get in the trenches and hit these targets over and over and over again. So hope that helps. And as usual, if you love what we're talking about, or if this really hit home for you, please share it with somebody else that you think it might help them in their life. Really, I'm on a mission to be able to add so much value to people's lives that they're inspired to make positive changes and become better people. So I'd appreciate you sharing it with somebody. If you're on iTunes or one of the platforms that allows you to comment or let us know what you think, please let us know. If you like it, if you don't like it, please let us know. I want to know what I can do to continue to make it better content for you and better stuff for you in your life, and how we can keep helping you. So I thank you so much for listening, and thanks for sharing our stuff and being involved with heading towards becoming that lifer. Become a lifer, somebody who is after improvement at all turns, somebody that's going to be calibrating to hit those targets of all the goals and lofty ideas and things that you'd like to accomplish in your life. So I appreciate you so much. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you in the next podcast. Take care. Are you loving Magic for Life? Please like and share our podcast on iTunes or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Interested in learning the ballroom dance? Check out ballroomforlife.com/free for a free 3-day trial. You can learn to dance right in your own living room and change your life forever.